Hey, this is Cameron. Welcome back to the Busy Gardener channel. Today I'm going to show you an absolute beginner's mistake that I made when I bought this new tree. Let's get busy. Now you might remember a couple of months ago I had an issue where like some sort of ground squirrel or groundhog or something, gopher ate the bottom of my Lapins Cherry tree, ate all the roots out so much so that I was able to just pull the tree straight out like a stick out of the ground. It was so crazy to see that. And but to this point, they've been making holes inside my yard. And so trust me, they're going to get their due in a little bit. But first I thought, my goodness, I need to replace that Lapins Cherry. So when I was at Home Depot, I was excited to see that they had a cherry. And I thought, oh, I bet you this is a Lapins Cherry. And I looked and sure enough, it was. So what I did was I looked at one that had like a decent caliper on it. That wasn't too thick because I like to cut these things down to knee high. And then also had some bud growth on the bottom here. Well, something that didn't occur to me until later, when I had it in my truck, I was going to take it around and put it back in the orchard, it was, I thought, why is that thing leaning in such a weird way over there? And as I got closer, I thought, oh my goodness, the deal here, the graft is here, up here. So all of this stuff and all of this wood below here, this is all just whatever the rootstock is. And they've grafted this tree to be a tall tree. So the only part that the Lapins Cherry starts is right here at this graft. You see that? I don't remember what they call that. I remembered what it was. It's essentially they create like a wedge cut, and then they put the other one in, the scion wood in, and that's what grows here. And it also looks almost like a second graft there, really weird. Anyway, so as I looked at it, you might notice here, in the ground, you figure like you are choosing like about another 1.5 foot, but if I'm not even able to cut it down to knee high, I'm gonna have to start the wood only about waist high. Well, waist high is kind of higher than I want my stuff to be because I want that fruiting to start really low at knee high and go as high as I can reach. If it starts at waist high or higher, that just means I'm gonna have about 1.5 foot of less fruiting space before it's higher than I'm able to go. So let me show you an example of what a graft ought to look like, where you want to be looking for your graft to be, and usually it is. Let's go take a look. So I'm walking over here. There goes Amazon. Those guys are the real heroes. Okay, so if we look at, I'll go around to my peach over here, so that way you can see my little May Pride peach. And you may notice that there's a graft down there at about ankle high. And so everything above that is essentially all May Pride peach. Same thing is true about my Panama nectarine over there. That Fay Alberta peach over there is still about maybe shin high, just about 6 inches off the ground. Same thing, I can't tell if you can see it over there, the apricot, the royal apricot, also about ankle high. So that's usually where these things are being grafted. Again, that cherry, they're trying to give you a cherry that starts with a tall canopy, so it's rootstock all the way up and then starts the canopy. I don't know why they did that, but they did. And so, yeah, unfortunately, unless I just decide I'm going to go with it and just plant it, I'm likely going to, hang on to this thing, return it to Home Depot when they actually let us start returning stuff when it's not in quarantine. It's so funny that they call it a dwarf sweet cherry. Now, it is dwarf because the rootstock is going to suppress some of this overall size, but it sure isn't starting off as a dwarf. So I may do it. I may look at it. I was just so surprised to see that, and the fact that I missed it. Because when have I ever had to look at that sort of thing? So when you're going out there, as you're looking at your trees and buying them, make sure that the graft starts really low, like under here. This is where I expected to see the graft, like right around here as it was on the other trees, not 1-2 feet up in the air. So anyway, hope this helps, gives you something to look at when you're out there buying your fruit trees. Hang in there. this is a good time to get out there and plant. Hey, if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, take a minute to do so. If you've got questions or has this kind of thing happened to you, what's kind of a beginner newbie mistake that you've made as you've been out there looking for trees? Anyway, appreciate you tuning in, or whether your tree is 6 inches off the ground or 500 inches off the ground. Until next time, stay busy.